So you've probably heard if you have a large query that you may need to drop into a raw SQL connection. And I've tried to do that before and occasionally do that, but I always find it really annoying to have to type out this long thing and then you have to pass in your query. And I thought it would just be so much more convenient if you could just call like .execute on the query. So I want to do two things in this video. One, I want to show you how I created this method, and I'm curious to know if you think this would be beneficial to make a PR to put it in Rails, or if possibly there's some other way to achieve this that's close to it. But then the other thing I want to take a look at is how much time savings are we talking about? How much memory savings are we talking about? So I have two tests here that I'm going to run through and show you. But first, let me show you the method on ActiveRecord. So I'm just going to open up ActiveRecord, go to the relation class. And here's the simple method I created. We already have the connection in here. This is the ActiveRecord connection. And then we can call execute on that. And then since we're calling it on the ActiveRecord relation anyway, we can just call .toSQL, and then that's going to return an object, the execution object. I can show you that. So that's how it works. I'll just show you real quickly. So it returns this, whatever database driver you're using, returns this result, and then you can you can call .each on it, you can call to array, several different things. So what about the test? So the first test we're going to run is memory profiler. So in the first one, we're going to run the AR. We're just going to call .each on the query, and this is just the query here. We're going to select a few columns and we're going to set a limit of 5,000. We're going to loop through those and just join them out. And then in the raw execution, we're going to use my execute method. We're going to call each on that. And then notice that's going to return a hash. So you can't use dot methods on it. So you have to use hash methods. And we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to output the results using memory profiler. So let's do that. So we run the rake task. It's going to loop through all those. And here we have the results. The ActiveRecord allocated 16 megs of memory, 190,000 objects, and it retained 7.7 megs of memory. So that's a pretty important how much it retains as opposed to giving it back. The raw execution only took 4 megabytes, so about 4 times as small, only created 50,000 objects. And here's, I think, probably the most important. I'm not a memory expert, but from what I understand, you want it to give back as much as possible. So it only retained 500 kilobytes of memory. And I think that's because Ruby is much better about collecting on just a basic array than it is on ActiveRecord objects. Okay, so pretty interesting. Now let's run through another test. This one is going to measure just the time. It's going to use benchmark, and we're going to do the same thing. I was doing a little test here, but we're going to use the same loop, query.each, and then query.execute, and we're just going to output the time, and then we're going to take the time and see how much difference there is. So let's run through that. So ActiveRecord's taken around 20.23 seconds, and the raw is taken about 0.03 seconds. So AR is about 6 times slower looping through those results than the raw. So it's pretty interesting, and I like having the method to execute on the relation so that you don't have to type out the long thing that I can never remember. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. And if you have come up with any neat ways to tackle this,